What is going on, my fellow Omi homies? It's Foster, and I'm back at it again with another VeVe and Ecomi video. Guys, VeVe just dropped their most recent monthly AMA, and I don't normally make monthly AMA recaps on my channel. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever made one since a monthly AMA comes out. Normally, I leave them up to my buddy Taps Trades. He usually puts out great reviews, but he's been a bit MIA lately, so I figured I'd try and take up a big set of shoes and do an AMA update recap for you guys because there was a lot of very interesting things discussed. I do recommend that you guys go and watch the entire AMA because, of course, I will be paraphrasing a lot of the things that happen in the AMA. I have had the opportunity to watch the entire thing, so I've highlighted the things that I think you guys will be most excited about, the things that are most important, things that are coming up in the community, but I will link to the video down in the description below if you guys want to check out anything. I don't have the timestamps for them because I wanted to rush through this to get the information out to you as quickly as possible, but as you can see down here, they're all mostly time-stamped as well, so Alex did a good job of that. So if there's anything specifically that I mentioned that you think is interesting and you're like, hey, I want to go check that out, you can check that out in their video so you get the full context of what it is I'm referring to. So first thing that they mentioned, and this is kind of in order of the way that they presented it as well, the first thing that we're going to be talking about is metadata, as you guys can see. So for you guys that don't know, a Mutascan has the VeVe metadata. Metadata essentially is the proof that all the digital collectibles that you own on the VeVe app are actually NFTs, NFTs being non-fungible tokens, and they are minted on the blockchain. And we can actually see that here now under VeVe. I've already looked it up on a Mutascan. This is all of the tokens. Each individual token represents an NFT. We can see that just over 7.4 million tokens have been minted on VeVe. And of course, these were all ported over from the Go chain onto Immutable X. And we can see that we have just under 650,000 unique owners. A unique owner in this case is someone that has a VeVe account. So right now there are close to 650,000 VeVe accounts that has at least one collectible in them. Of course, there might be more than that many accounts, but those accounts may not have collectibles or may not be KYC'd and therefore may not show up in this. So you can see all the transactions, all the people that are buying and transferring things that are taking place. And they did mention that the full stage 1 of metadata is complete. We can now see it all here, and that it should all be released by the end of November. So we don't actually see all of the tokens that are currently available right now. So you can't look up a specific collectible per se if it wasn't minted in the last 4 weeks. IMX is delayed on how many tokens they can upload per day. So that is their limitation right now. Dan believes that it should all be done by the end of November, which will be really exciting. We can see how many collectibles and the prices and everything that are changing as time goes on. So that's the first thing that I was excited to see. Second thing that's coming that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about is the merging of accounts. Now, what that means is if you have a KYC'd account, but let's say you have a younger child who does not, meet the requirements for KYC, they're not over the age of 18, or someone else for whatever reason that isn't able to KYC correctly, you can actually merge that account with your account. You can merge up to 5 accounts onto your main account, assuming that your main account is KYC'd. Of course, this is just to make sure that they're tracking where the money is coming from, where these collectibles are going from, going to, and all of that stuff. It's all regulatory compliance. It needs to happen. But the exciting thing is that people, if they did have multiple accounts or they did have a child or something that was participating as well that hasn't been able to KYC as of yet, hopefully in the month of November, they seem confident that you'll be able to merge up to 5 accounts. They said that you will likely even be able to merge more than 5, but anything more than 5 will require additional identity verification. What that is, they haven't announced, but I'm sure that they'll get into that as it comes out. Next thing we're going to talk about is the VeVe Master Collector Program. For those of you that have been around for a while, you know that the VeVe Master Collector Program has basically been finalized for, well, as we can see here, almost a year now. This article came out December 23rd, 2021. And after that, we've just been kind of waiting. We've been in a holding pattern, wondering when we're going to finally see our collections being rewarded. When are we going to see these points? When are we going to get perks? When are we going to get rewarded as holders in the community for all the support that we show the VeVe team for purchasing the collectibles? So what we're looking at right now is phase 1 is more than 90% likely to be out by Christmas, which is very exciting. The first stage will just be able to see your rank, your level, and your points calculation. But I still think that that's great. That's the initial gamification that we're looking for. it's important to note as well that all the points that you're earning are still going to be earned retroactively. So even if it, for whatever reason, the 90% doesn't get done in time, it gets pushed to, let's say, January, you're still earning points for all those times that you are holding these collectibles. But don't fret, you are earning those points retroactively. So holding, you still will be rewarded for, even if it takes a little bit longer. And then phase 2 is going to be the wait list, the drop lottery, and some additional incentives for being a master collector. Once you have your points, you'll likely be able to spend them in the drop lottery in order to get access early to collectibles and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to the Master Collector program coming out. I know a lot of you that are watching this video right now are probably also very excited about the MCP. So very excited to see if they can deliver on this deadline before Christmas. Definitely would be a great Christmas present for the fam. Next one that I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to is the search bar. The search bar is actually going into development in the next business cycle next week. So they do have their development cycle lined up to correspond with the beginning of the next month. And the search bar is going into development in that cycle, which of course is very exciting. And it also means that it should be out before Christmas as well, similar to the MCP, and that it will include comics and collectibles and will make searching overall much easier on the platform. So you should be able to type in a specific type of collectible, whether you're looking for a specific brand or a specific collectible directly, and you should be able to look that up directly with the search function. It's kind of become a meme in the community lately that they haven't even been able to deliver on a functioning search bar, but it is good to see that it's finally going to the development cycle and that they are likely to be delivering on that before the end of the year. OUP, the Omi Utility Program, probably one of the next biggest things outside of the Master Collector Program, looks like it is finally complete. It's been finalized. It's been signed off by those lawyers that have been on vacation. Inside joke, if you've watched my videos for a long time, it's finally done, guys. And it's going to be published by the end of the first week of November. And they joked in the video that it is November of 2022. So that's a throwback to the MAY capital letters from David Yu when he put out a tweet a while back now about when we've been waiting for this. And I'm really excited for this one myself. You guys know, if you've watched my channel for a while, I really like to focus on the Omi side of things. I do love VeVe as well, but I'm crazy about Omi, and so I'm really excited to see what they've come up with everything that they'll be releasing. It seems like they're really looking forward to adding utility back to the token. Dan mentioned Omi to NFT and just other mechanisms in order to actually ensure that there's a reason to hold the Omi token and for you to want to utilize it. So this was the first look that we got back on the Omi Utility program. I believe there was another one after that that came out in early 2022, but similar to MCP, we've been on a holding pattern for this for quite a while. So I think that we're really starting to get those foundational blocks in place. And you know that in the first week of November, when this does come out, I'll be putting out a ton of content about that. And I'm very excited to see what they come up with in that. So another thing that's exciting crypto related that they will be releasing hashtag soon is crypto pay-in. So crypto pay-in is slated to come in November, and it's going to be rolling out to some people, kind of like how they've tested out some features as well for when they initially rolled out the MTL, the money transmitter license. They whitelisted some people in order to test the feature to make sure that it worked correctly. And then as they felt comfortable with it, they opened it up to more people. We should see something similar to that as well with crypto pay-in. What crypto pay-in is likely to mean is being able to use cryptocurrencies such as, let's say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins likely USDT, USDC, in order to buy gems on the platform. I don't think that it will be buying collectibles directly, because I think that will likely only be Omi to NFT. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. We should find that out within the first week of November anyways. But what I'm anticipating now is that you'll be able to purchase gems. I'm assuming that they'll work in a way where you're able to pay a provider. Maybe there's a market maker or something that allows you to buy gems on a spread with these more stable cryptocurrencies. And then you'll be able to do that. And I think one of the questions that people will ask, because I'm not expecting Omi to be a pay-in measure to buy gems with it, is because there'd be no reason to do that, because you're able to use Omi to NFT directly when that's released. So you don't really need to buy gems, because it's just an extra step and it just complicates things and it puts sell pressure on the token. So I don't anticipate that. I, of course, could be wrong, but just based on kind of my understanding of the token, it wouldn't really make sense. On top of that, crypto payout, because of course one is naturally followed by the other. Crypto payout currently doesn't have a date, unfortunately. So we are looking at crypto pay-in for November, but we're not sure on the date that we're looking at to see crypto payout. And I think part of the reason with that is that they're looking to build in tool sets to make it safe for everyone to use. For those of you guys that don't know, when they initially had this feature offered, there was issues where people were able to purchase fraudulent KYC accounts. And then unlike withdrawing to a bank account where they know exactly where you are and who you are, withdrawing to your MetaMask or a crypto wallet on an exchange that doesn't have KYC, they don't know who you are. So if you then go and buy fraudulent gems on the platform with a credit card, and then you cash them out to an account that no one knows who you are, it's just a very easy way to basically commit money laundering and fraud. And so, of course, they need to make sure that that's not happening on the regulatory side, but also because it costs VeVe a lot of money because they're on the hook for all of this because those gems are being purchased directly through them. So Apple and them, they're not going to cover it. So this is something that I think they're really looking to work towards to make sure that they have a full grasp and handle on it. And I think that this is something that will likely take a little bit longer. They haven't put a specific date on it yet, which I think is okay because payout is still available to you in your bank. So it's not like they're holding your money hostage, but we will wait for an update. Dan was hopeful that he would have an update by the time the November monthly update comes out. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll have an update on that and we can revisit it afterwards. One of the other things that we have coming up is the queue system. So the queue system, it is ready. I know that we've heard that for a while now and people have been wondering why we haven't seen it yet. My personal belief is that for 99% of drops that have come out, short of maybe the Miles Morales, there just hasn't been the demand for it. Most of the drops haven't been selling out. The market conditions don't support it right now. And so it would be kind of silly to have a queue system that, it's not even selling out. So what do you need a queue for? Because the mint numbers are still randomly generated. So I don't know that it was necessarily needed for most of the drops, but the good news is that it is ready. They've already coded it and all of that is good. And that the first drop will actually be the VeVe Logo blind box drop in December. So it sounds like they're going to be releasing the VE and the VE. And of course, in different colors, the blue and white to match the logo that is on the platform. And you'll be able to purchase that. And they're going to test it out before they roll it out with a major drop. If you guys participated in the Palm NFT Superman comic book drop the other day, you'll understand the importance of testing some of these features before a big drop like something like this comes out, because there are always kinks and there are always things that need to be worked out. So I am glad that they're taking this approach before they go to a big licensor, because the last thing that they want to have happen is just an absolute disaster and having to answer to someone else. Whereas the VeVe IP, it's free and they have a little bit more flexibility to reward people if they are ripped off or there is an issue that happens. One of the other things that's been happening as kind of a FUD thing in the community recently, people have been concerned about Apple cracking down on NFT functionality. This was news that came out a couple days ago. I think most of us, at least content creators in the community, didn't really focus on it because we kind of had an understanding of the fact that it likely wasn't that big of a deal, but I know it did kind of cause some concern in the community. So it was nice to hear them speak on this a little bit. And Dan did clarify that this is going to have absolutely no effect on VeVe. They do actually talk to Apple on a regular basis. He said almost weekly. So they were aware that these regulations were coming down the pipeline, and they've already done things in line to make sure that they were regulatory compliant, which honestly at this point shouldn't surprise anyone with VeVe. They are slow, but they're slow for a purpose. They're making sure that they do everything right and that they only have to do it once and that they don't have to double back or run into any issues down the road. So we shouldn't anticipate any issues with the Apple NFT Crackdown. I'm not going to go into what it was specifically. It could be its entire own video. All we need to know at this time is that it's not going to affect VeVe. It's not going to affect the AR function or any other way that the app functions. The only thing that they really had to change, and they already did it proactively, was making the promo codes redeemable on the web app only. So you're not able to redeem promo codes on the mobile version of the platform, which is perfectly okay. It's really not that much of an inconvenience because you can actually access the web platform on a mobile browser on your phone anyways. So either way, not a problem at all. One of the really cool things that came out as well, and this is something they talked about in the video, and I really would recommend watching a bit of Dan's speech because they do actually play Dan's speech in the video, but VeVe was actually nominated and won a very major award through the New Zealand Trade and Enterprise Organization. And this is just basically an organization that recognizes and gives credit to emerging businesses and industries within New Zealand. So we can see here that VeVe won the Extraordinary Growth in Emerging Business Award, and it actually came out, and a couple other content creators have already touched on this, but it's actually come out that VeVe had sales of $1.2 billion. in the secondary marketplace, which is absolutely incredible. And I think this was a little bit misconstrued. I know Dr. Profit put out a tweet about it, got a lot of people excited, but it also got a lot of people confused and a little bit upset. They couldn't understand what it meant because they've only seen about $300 million worth of gems purchased in the App Store. So they couldn't understand how that made sense, that we could have had $1.2 billion worth of sales with only 350 million gems purchased. It's important to remember that gems can be used more than once. Of course, in the primary market, if you purchase gems, they're burnt forever. But if I buy something in the secondary market for, let's say, 100 gems, and it's a DC item, it only has a 2.5% fee, then there's still 97.5 gems that the person that I'm buying it from is going to be receiving. And then if they go and purchase something with that 97.5 gems, there's now been $197.5 worth of transactions off of 100 gems purchased. So just understand that gems can be used and recycled in a sense multiple times as money exchanges hands between people. So that's where that number essentially originates from. It doesn't necessarily mean that VeVe has pocketed $1.2 billion in their own revenue, but it means that revenue in the sense of sales being generated was 1.2 billion, which of course for a company as new as VeVe is absolutely incredible. So huge shout out to the team. And it was actually really cool to see Dan in his speech gave a huge shout out to the VeVe fam as a whole. They really do recognize that they wouldn't be in the position that they were if it wasn't for the community support. So you got to love their modesty and how they continue to build out for the community. And so I thought that was absolutely incredible. Couple last things, guys. I wanted to keep this shorter than their update video because it was an hour, but it's dragging a little bit on me. So I'll try and work with you guys. I do apologize. It's just so many big updates, like I said, and it's just a lot to be excited for. So really want to get this one out to you. So one of the last things is Anaheim Decon will be the first appearance of the VeVeverse. So we've seen it teased a little bit on social media. David accidentally let it leak a few weeks ago that they were looking at doing this. And then, of course, it ran through the community like wildfire. People were speculating on what engine it was being built on and what features it was going to entail. And I think Dan Carruthers didn't help things either by putting out a tweet the other day, basically asking what people's views were on the VeVeverse to try and gauge community sentiment. And it was really cool to hear that Dan said in the video that he believes that his vision of the VeVeverse long-term directly aligns with a lot of what the fam is hoping for. He did want an expectation set and say, it's not going to look like everything you want it to on day one. But of course, they're really excited with what they're going to be building out. And it seems like they're going to be building out something good. I'm trying to remain cautiously optimistic and not get my hopes up too high, but when they're excited, it's almost contagious. It's hard to not be excited as well. So it'll be really cool to see what they come up with. Final thing that they touched on in the video is the VeVe Gold and Silver Logo Utility. So they're looking to continue to build that out at all the physical cons and events that they're participating in. You will receive a one-of-one physical at each event, which I thought was really interesting. And it'll actually have your corresponding logo number. So if you have, logo number 500 and you go to this event, you're going to get a one-of-one custom that's stamped with a number 500 on it. So I thought that was really cool that they're doing this. And it seems like they're even going to add in, surprises maybe for, 10% of the people that get them. They're going to add on something even more exclusive. So just seems like they're really working on building out this utility, and I'm really excited for what it is. Alex doesn't even know what it is. It sounds like Dan doesn't even know what it is. David has really taken this under his wing and is really building it out. So I'm really excited to see what he comes up with. They did mention if you own multiple logos, you can only claim one at the event. But if you do, let's say, bring a friend with you, you can have them there with you and they can collect it as well, because David really wants to make sure that this is going out to as many people as possible. The idea was never to hold more than one logo. Obviously, they want to reward as many people in the community as they can. So I really liked that logic. And then for those of you guys that are watching this that maybe have a logo and aren't able to make it out to Anaheim, don't worry, because David has indicated that they're actually going to bring those physical items to the next two events afterwards as well. So they're going to continue to bag things up. So let's say you're only able to make every third event. You'll get the one-of-one physicals from each of the two previous events, as well as the event that you're at. After the third one, it sounds like they may either destroy them or something else may happen to them, but you'll have some time to pick them up. So if you're not able to make one specific event, don't stress out about it. It seems like you'll still have some opportunities. And some people did want to know as well, it sounds like Dan and David are currently out of VeVe logo cards. There are none left for them to hand out, but they did indicate that VeVe did hold some of those back, as they do normally with any other drop. So it sounds like they're going to be doing some community competitions in order to hand out some of those logos. So whether you have to create something on social media or what they're going to do with those will be yet to see. They will be making some announcements over the next couple weeks, but I'm really excited about it. And it sounds like they're really looking to build out their own IP as well as expand on a lot of the IP that they're bringing to the platform. So overall, a really, really exciting AMA. I was really glad that I was able to tune into it, and hopefully you guys found some value in this video. If you did, please make sure, if you're not already, to subscribe, like the video, and leave me a comment with what you think about everything that is scheduled to be coming up. We're finally getting an answer to a lot of our whens, and I cannot wait for the month of November. Thank you guys as always. I love you all. Peace.